Live once again for the first 2015 snowstorm update. Of course, we have the doctor with us, Mr. Dr. Tom. And Tom, one of the questions I want to ask at the outset is cold air going to be a concern with this system? From a distance, it seems like it might be.
Yeah, first off, I am not a doctor, just so that everybody understands that. This is just a little joke that Bill and I have. So, cold air, Bill, there seems to be enough for snow, but certainly not much for the light, fluffy snow. You need it really cold, Arctic type air up in our atmosphere to get that light, fluffy snow that can blow around, right?
Right.
But it's been so warm here, everybody knows El Nino has played a role. By the way, we can keep an eye on that game back there.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
But anyway, it's been so warm here, Bill, with El Nino. And by the way, it's going to be that way for the next several months, the way it appears. But our atmosphere just hasn't been able to tap into that real, true Arctic air. And because of that, whatever snow does fall tomorrow in Minnesota and Wisconsin is going to be heavy, wet, concrete-like snow. Difficult to shovel, difficult to plow around. Basically, it's going to be a nightmare for commuters and for anybody that's going to be trying to get around in the snow. And I am worried, Bill, that rain-snow line, you know we always talk about this, but that rain-snow line might be dangerously close to the Twin Cities tomorrow, and some people may get disappointed. Right now, it appears that the lower levels of our atmosphere are going to be cold enough for all snow in the cities, but don't be surprised if that rain-snow line budges a little bit closer to the Twin Cities. Rochester, Eau Claire, probably some ice, and it might get a little nasty with ice on the highways and freeways in those areas. So lots going on, Bill.
Yeah, somebody said that they recently looked at Dave Dahl's weather update on his blog, and he seems to feel like the bullseye has actually moved from being west of the cities to more right over the cities. But
yeah, I mean, I can't make that argument, Bill. I can tell you this: I think the heaviest snows are going to be very close, if not in the Twin Cities, but I think very close, probably west of the Twin Cities. I'm thinking more Mankato, Wilmer, Sioux Falls, kind of in the southwestern section quarter of the state. But there's no doubt that if that storm were to track just 50 miles further east or south, that would put the Twin Cities right in the bullseye. And we know, we deal with this all the time, Bill. Those storms like to kind of play us for fools. I wouldn't be surprised if that storm does track a little bit further east. We'll see. Latest model data, Bill, the 00Z, which is 7 p.m. model data, it's coming down right now. So we're going to be taking a look at it as we speak here, and we'll have an update on that track as we head into 9, 10, 11 o'clock this evening.
By the way, Tom, I was saying one good thing about the fact that the snow will not be fluffy is that I assume it's much more treatable for salt and stuff. So that should be good. That should be good.
Yeah, I mean, that could be the case. I've always understood, and I'm certainly not a great mind when it comes to salting and sanding freeways.
Don't, Tom, this is not the time to be modest.
Well, yeah, I mean, I would like to think I know a lot about that, although I know a little just to be dangerous. But I've always heard that temperatures in the 20s, that's when it's really difficult. That's when the chemicals don't work very well, is when you're in that 25 to 28 degree range. We're not going to be that cold. We're going to be in that 30, 31, 32 degree range. So the chemicals should work fine tomorrow, but lots of slush. I think that's what we need to get used to later in the day tomorrow and into Tuesday morning is slush. There will be a lot of it around.
Let's see some maps, Tom.
Hey, you've got it. All right. Well, first map is a radar, Bill. This is the radar summary. You should see it up right now. This is over the upper Midwest. Two things I want you to focus on. Here's moisture in Iowa right now, streaming north and east towards southeastern Minnesota. Temperature outside right now in Minneapolis, St. Paul, and Rochester is right around 31 degrees. So if and when this moisture makes it up here after midnight, it's likely going to fall as some ice, because this is all rain in Iowa right now. So maybe some spits of snow, but I wouldn't be surprised if we're greeted tomorrow morning during drive time, rush hour, 7 a.m. with some ice on the road. So be prepared for that. The other thing I want you to focus on, Bill, is what's happening down here in Colorado. Hopefully you can see it. You've got that Denver Patriots game on behind you, Bill.
Yeah, you can see it right there.
That's right. It's spitting snow out there in Denver right now. And that's this area of precipitation that's starting to explode over Colorado. That's the low pressure system that's going to be pulling out into Kansas and Nebraska during the day tomorrow. And it should tap into a significant amount of moisture tomorrow. And you're going to see this whole area of Nebraska, Kansas, Iowa, and Missouri basically explode with precipitation, and then of course that would stream north into southern Minnesota. And that's
Tom, are there two low pressure systems there? Because why is Iowa getting so much precipitation now so far away? Is that a second one?
That's just the initial piece of energy from this massive disturbance that is sitting out and spinning over the Rockies. In fact, Bill, you can see it here. This is the upper levels of our atmosphere. This is at 250 millibars. This is jet stream level. And look at this big round circle, basically north of Denver in Wyoming, western Nebraska. That's a impressive and significant upper level low that is spinning, and it's taking its sweet old time. This is where it's located right now, and look at how it's just barely moving east with time, so that by tomorrow afternoon, it's still located well west of the Twin Cities. But here we have the southern fetch of upper level winds that are streaming into southern Minnesota by tomorrow afternoon. That's our moisture source. That's why we expect precipitation to flow north into southern Minnesota, because in the upper levels, we're going to have some southerly winds, and that's going to come all the way down to the surface too, so that even at the low levels at 850 millibars, winds will be south and east, which means a lot of moisture is going to get drawn up into this storm system. And we're just going to go to a model from late this afternoon, Bill. This is again, the NAM computer model, and I just want you to focus on this upper level low again, okay? Watch what happens through time. It slowly but surely moves east right over southern Minnesota and intensifies. So another fear of mine with this storm system, Bill, is that it's going to be a long-lasting storm. We'll get surges of moisture in here. One of them will be on Monday, late Monday, and then we may even get rotating areas of snow even into Tuesday morning and afternoon. So that's something we're going to need to keep an eye on, Bill. Now, of course, we always talk about the lower layers of our atmosphere, Bill, at 850 millibars.
Yep.
Look for that rain-snow line, right? Well, this is where the rain-snow line is located tomorrow morning. See that light blue line, Bill? That's 32 degrees Fahrenheit at 850 millibars. That's basically where we can expect the rain-snow line, running from about Des Moines, Iowa, north and east to near Rochester, and then to near Eau Claire. I'm a little worried that that might be nudged northwest even into the Twin Cities during the day tomorrow. Watch what happens to this rain-snow line, Bill. It kind of sits there over central Iowa, extreme southeastern Minnesota, and western Wisconsin. Look at where the Twin Cities is, Bill. It looks like we're going to be cold enough for snow. This is 7 p.m. tomorrow evening. Our lower levels of our atmosphere in the Twin Cities should be cold enough for snow. It would be a heavy, wet snow if it does fall as snow. And then as we go through the night, our atmosphere cools even more, so that by tomorrow afternoon, this is at about 3 p.m. tomorrow afternoon, it will definitely be all snow if we are still receiving precipitation at that time. So my biggest concern is not the fact that is not a moisture concern, Bill. I don't think we're going to have any problems having moisture around. It's where is that rain snow line going to set up tomorrow? Because tomorrow afternoon, this is the time frame for this 850 millibar chart, you can see that rain snow line is dangerously close to the Twin Cities, and I think Rochester and Eau Claire will almost no doubt get a mix of snow, sleet, and rain during the afternoon and evening tomorrow.
Tom, is the ground sufficiently frozen by now at all, or?
Well, no, it's not, Bill, and that's one of the reasons why we're going to have a lot of slush on the ground, is because this snow, as it's falling, some of it's going to melt. And even though it may fall at such a heavy clip tomorrow that we get a lot of accumulation, it's still going to be melting even as it sits on the ground tomorrow. So good snowball weather okay? But tough to plow and tough to shovel. So again, keep that in mind. One other thing I did want to show everybody, Bill, was the radar, future radar. Okay, this is the future radar from the NAM 4K computer model, okay? And you can see that surge of moisture, and the pink is ice, okay? This is by about 3 a.m. tomorrow morning. Look at, it's got southeastern Minnesota and southern Minnesota in ice overnight tonight. And then watch what happens during the morning hours. Just a little bit of spit of ice in the Twin Cities. This is at about 7 a.m. But then look at that area of snow, Bill, that dark blue. That's heavy snow. And this is at about 10 or 11 a.m. tomorrow morning. It's starting to encroach on the Twin Cities metro. And then as we head into the early afternoon, this is about 2 in the afternoon, heavy snow in the Twin Cities and ice over the southeastern corner of Minnesota and into portions of west central Wisconsin. And then you can see that surge of snow and ice just continues to move north through much of Minnesota and kind of redevelops or regenerates over southern Minnesota by late tomorrow evening. So again, we may have rounds of snow, so periods of snow, Bill, as we head through the afternoon, evening, and then overnight hours tomorrow.
Would you expect the brunt of it tomorrow afternoon and evening?
That's when I expect that initial onslaught, which would be some of the heaviest snow, somewhere in that noon to 6 p.m. time frame, right during rush hour tomorrow afternoon. I expect that to be a nightmare rush hour tomorrow afternoon in the Twin Cities. Then probably a lull, and then some more periods of snow during the overnight hours. You know, some of the latest model data, Bill, and I'm excited to see the 00 Zulu model data come in, but some of the latest model data has been hinting that the storm might sit and spin a little bit over southern Minnesota during the day on Tuesday, especially in the morning. That would enhance our snowfall totals. So,
Tom, is the if this were a, you know, if there were a lot of cold air and the jet stream, I guess, was stronger, would it be less likely to sit and spin, or is that partly because
No, I don't think you can attribute that to the storm sitting and spinning.
Okay.
But one thing I can tell you is that I would be much more confident in 12 to 18 inches of snow if our atmosphere was a lot colder. But because it's so warm, I just get a funny feeling a lot of areas are going to be receiving a mix, at least initially, early on. And the snow will be melting as it's compacting during the day and overnight hours tomorrow, and then even into Tuesday. So even though we may get, let's say, 6, 8 inches of snow in the Twin Cities, by Tuesday afternoon or Wednesday, there may only be 4 inches of hard, compacted slush. That's just kind of that's the game that we're in right now. And I get a feeling that's the way this winter is going to be, Bill. We may get quite a bit of snow, but there's going to be a lot of thaws due to El Nino, and a lot of these snows that we get are going to be the wet, heavy stuff mixed in with sleet and sometimes freezing rain. I just get a funny feeling it's going to be one of those winters.
Yeah. So do you have an accumulation map for us?
I do. I know everybody loves taking a look at accumulation maps. It's something that weather forecasters actually are scared to put out because people live and die by these maps.
You have guts. You have guts.
Right. Well, this is going to be pretty consistent with the National Weather Service, Bill, and the WPC, those people that really know how to predict snow out in over at NOAA. But anyway, southwestern Minnesota, from right around the Twin Cities or the western suburbs on southwest to Sioux Falls, that's where I expect the bullseye of the heavy snow to be. I won't be surprised if some areas receive more than 10 inches, localized areas. And then a large area, I mean, look at how far-reaching the storm is, the real estate that it covers. Almost a half a foot of snow over eastern South Dakota, much of the central and southern parts of Minnesota. And then even some decent snows up into northern Minnesota, including Duluth. And then, of course, Bill, I've been talking about this ice, but Rochester, Eau Claire, La Crosse, all these areas, even Des Moines, Ames, Iowa, they may be looking at a tenth to a quarter of an inch of ice in these areas. So, and of course, if we track that low pressure system just 30 to 50 miles further east, Bill, that would put this 8 to 10 inch snowfall even in the Twin Cities. Who knows if this storm sits and spins for a few hours, that could be big trouble, and snow totals could definitely get out of hand over a good chunk of Minnesota tomorrow. It'll be fun to watch.
One of the things that I like with the capital weather in Washington does is they do probabilistic things. So they might say there's a 60% chance of 5 to 8 inches, but there's also a 30% chance that could be 8 to 12, and a certain percentage chance that it would be less than 5 inches. Do you have at least a sense of, would you be more surprised if there was more snow than you're expecting or less snow than you're expecting?
Well, Bill, you know how much I hate saying chance. I'm just not big on chances. But I am big on telling you whether I'm confident or not, and whether I have high confidence. I know they're kind of the same thing, but I'm just not a big chances guy. But my confidence, Bill, is very high that a good chunk of Minnesota is going to receive a heavy wet snow out of this. My confidence is also really high that the Twin Cities is going to get a plowable heavy snow event somewhere in excess of 4 inches. My biggest concern, as you've been able to tell, is even in the eastern suburbs or southeastern suburbs of the Twin Cities, further on east into Wisconsin and southeastern Minnesota, how much of a mix is in play in those areas. And that's always a difficult one to predict. So if I'm predicting Rochester or Eau Claire, it's kind of a crapshoot right now. But I even expect that they will get at least some snow. But again, they will likely, their totals will be down due to a mix. And again, this will come in waves, Bill. That's what is going to be fun about this is, we could be talking about snow even into Tuesday morning and afternoon. It certainly likely won't be the heavy stuff that we get Monday during the PM hours, but just a lot to really look at.
Well, you're just the man for this kind of challenge.
Bill, you know what? I've missed you. You're out there on the West Coast. We haven't really talked much for the last 6 months because summer weather is boring. But it's fun to get back into it with you.
It is, and it's strange, but living in California, I still feel the excitement, and
I know you can't get the snow out of you,
but I can drive to it, Tom.
You can, but it's like what everybody says, Bill. Once you've come to Minnesota, it's tough to leave. Even snowbirds, snowbirds.
2 hours.
Bill, everybody wants at least some white during the holidays. And here's hoping that we have a white Christmas.
Yeah. Tom, I could drive 2 hours or so and there'd be 4 feet of snow on the ground.
Okay. Well, if you get bored out there in the San Francisco area, go up and get your snow, and we'll keep you up to date here.
Yeah, we should do it. We should do a broadcast when I'm like in a lodge up at Tahoe or something sometime.
That's a deal.
Yeah.
All right.
Anything else, Tom? We're good? All right. Bye-bye.